Luke chapter 9, verses 57 through 62. I'm talking about a radical response this morning. We're talking about family. And I want you to know I'm going to say this several times throughout this teaching this morning. And I really want this just to be a teaching, but I'm going to say this several times. And that is, the best thing that you can do for your own biological family is to put your spiritual family above them. The best thing that you can do for your biological family is to make the family of God the priority. Because when you make the family of God the priority, God takes care of your family. You can do both in a healthy way. There are many families in this church that are doing that. You can do both. You can make God's family the priority and still take care of your own family. But when you put the focus on your family and you neglect the responsibility of God's family, now you're out of order scripturally and biblically, and things are not going to work out the way that you want them to work out. Okay? Luke chapter 9, verses 57 through 62. As they were walking along the road, a man said to him, "I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." He said to another man, "Follow me." This is Jesus, said, "Hey, follow me." But he replied, "Lord, first let me go and bury my father." Jesus said to him, "Let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and proclaim the kingdom of God." Still another said, "I will follow you, Lord, but first let me go back and say goodbye to my family." Jesus replied, "No one who puts a hand to the plow and looks back is fit for service in the kingdom of God." This is pretty bold here. Would you agree? That somebody comes to Jesus and says, "I will follow you," and Jesus said, "Listen, you're going to follow me. It's a place of no rest, in the sense of like, we are doing the thing. I don't have a home. I don't have the security of that. We're just on the move. We're going to build God's kingdom. If that's the lifestyle that you want, then come along right here." And that's not everybody's calling. That was Jesus' calling at that moment, that he was to travel from town to town, and he was to preach the kingdom of God. And this other guy wanted to be a part of that, and he said, "If you want to be a part of that, come on. But I want you to know what you're getting yourself into. This is my calling right now, to go from town to town and reveal the Father." Then in that, he has two other examples, and Jesus looks at a man and he says, "Follow me," and the man responds to him and says, "Well, first let me go bury my father." Now, in our society and in life, there are major events that take place in life that all of us make as a priority. When somebody gets born, right? When a couple has a child, that's a priority. You drop everything. You take a day off of work, a couple days off of work. You know, it's like, I'm going to be at the hospital. I'm going to be there. You know, obviously, if you're the woman, you're in the labor room, you know, delivering the child. But that's a huge event. You know, a graduation from high school, that's a big event. You know, you invite your friends over, you invite relatives over. It's like it's a priority. You know, you mark it on the calendar. You say no to all other events, and you say, no, this is a special occasion for my child that they're graduating from high school. I make that a priority. When somebody gets married, you know, you make that a priority, and you know, and usually they give you 6 months to a year of planning time, and you mark it on the calendar, and you say, I say no to all other events because I am going to make this a priority, that I'm going to be at this wedding because I want to celebrate with my family. And then finally, the other one is a funeral. When somebody dies, we make that a priority. You know, somebody dies, you take off work, you go be with family, you mourn with them and or rejoice with them depending on the situation, and you know, and you make that a priority. And what happens, Jesus is saying to this man, he said, "Come follow me," meaning that Jesus was saying, there's a calling on your life. I see the importance in the kingdom in you. There's something that the kingdom needs out of your life. And this man says, can't I at least do this? Isn't this for family, the sensitivity that I would just be a part of this funeral? And Jesus said, no, let the dead bury the dead. The most important thing that you can do right now is come with me and preach the kingdom of God. Now, what would you do if you called me up and said, "Pastor, will you pray for me? And I just lost my loved one." And I just said, "No, I'm not going to pray for you. Matter of fact, don't even go to the funeral. You need to go and preach the gospel." Most of you would probably be offended and say, "You don't love me and you're not compassionate," and you would leave the church. Because of our culture, that we put such a high priority on those events of life. Yet Jesus was teaching right here and saying that the family of God is more important than your biological family. Do you see and understand the radicalness of what Jesus is saying here? This is a radical, bold statement that he is saying. And then he goes on and says, if you're not willing to do this, you're not even worthy of my kingdom. Okay, everybody smile at me. I'm just repeating what the word says. I'm just reading it back to you, okay?